guys, this is day number 5 of the Talk to the Camera challenge, and today, on today's topic, is about sharing a travel story. So, I do my fair share of traveling, not only in the UK but into other countries as well. Um, by the years, I've travelled to a couple of cities in America, a couple towns in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, uh, Indonesia, Dubai, Spain, Belfast, Iceland, um, Italy. I think that's it. I think that's all the sort of countries I went to over the years. But the most interesting one out of them all is, well, it takes place in January of 2020. Of course, this is about 2 months before, a certain pandemic happened. I think you probably know what that is. A lot of things happened in 2020. So this was like before early January, where we had like no idea how serious this could be. So I went to Australia around January time, and it was the last holiday that I went to for about 2 years in terms of flying over to another country. Yeah, I think in 2020, 2022 is when I started to fly over to different countries again. Huge 2 years gap. So, yeah, 2020, I went to Australia. It was me, it was my mom, my gran, my auntie. I had a boyfriend. We haven't seen each other in a while. My auntie and the boyfriend. His name is Matt as well. So we thought this would be like a nice, get together in Australia. So we go over there, and the journey to any destination, especially for flying, isn't always a smooth ride. And this one takes the cake as like one of the worst sort of journeys like ever in terms of flying, like so far. Just non-stop. Like, I know delays and do happen, but this one is, it was just a nightmare on top of another nightmare. And what happened was, we arrived because it was a long journey from UK to Australia, so we have to sort of make a stop, and get a second plane to go over to Australia. So from UK to, we stopped at Dubai first, in a city where it's all just it's basically a city in the middle of the desert. So one of my biggest surprises is that it rains, believe it or not, because I would never like ever, you know, especially with like a flood as well. I mean, this is like news to me, you know. I always have the, sort of like the Los Angeles sort of image in my head, you know, where it rarely rains. But yeah. So there was a huge flood in the airport, so we couldn't really go to our plane, and the communication wasn't very strong. Not only because it's in a foreign country and there's a language barrier, but because I don't know, the one it was a massive like airport, like it was the biggest like airport. It just goes on forever, and yeah, none of it was very helpful. None of it was very communicative. Um, so there was a huge delay, and they offered people to basically, to stay in a hotel for the night because it's going to be the flight's going to be the next morning or at midnight. So yes, we're all waiting just to go to just like a hotel just to stay for a few hours. So we got on the bus and we were heading um to this sort of hotel, and they said the hotels weren't that far away from the airport, but what we discovered was that wasn't true at all. We as we were all driving, we kept driving and driving and driving for like an hour, to the point where we literally were like leaving the city and we were going into in the desert in you know the pitch black. At this point, we have no idea what was happening. This is not like very close to the airport. This is like an hour away or more. So the driving us, and then they stopped. We realized that it was too far away, that we wanted to be in a close you know in close contact with the airport. So because we had a flight to catch, the driver of the bus, as soon as he dropped us off at this hotel, which was far away, that was it. He was done for. That was his shift. He was done. He was going to go home. It wasn't us, but there was a couple, I think family, um, on the bus with us, and they were literally begging for this guy to take them back to the airport because their flight was going to be very early hours in the morning. You know, didn't expect it, to be this far away. So after so much like convincing and just like pleading, eventually he give the guy the props. The driver did, even though it was the end of the shift, was like, yeah, okay. So he took us all back to the airport. We got back, and then we realised that the times have changed again. It was delayed even further. It was going to be the afternoon, like well, late afternoon the next day. So yeah. So we spent like a day and a half at a hotel in Dubai. The the only way that they could feed us really is through like just a bland piece of pastry and some water, and we slept on the hard concrete ground. And then when we did finally boarded our plane, there was a 3 hour delay because there were people on our flight didn't show up. So they were trying to find their bags, their luggage that was being already loaded onto the plane, and just to take them out because they didn't show up. So that caused an even more delay. So yeah, other than that, when we did finally landed in Australia, the whole holiday was a pleasant one. It was a really, really great time, especially, just seeing my aunt again and that stuff, and just seeing the sights and all that. Little did we know what was unfortunately coming. I mean, we knew that COVID was happening in other country, but I don't think nobody really grasped the situation of what was going to happen or what was basically going to change our lives. But at this moment, we thought like life's, this is pretty great. But the wildest story that's ever happened to this day is just it. It just it. I just it you can't even make this up. But this is 100% true. We were walking around after like a long day. Me and my family, we were looking around and felt like we should like just sit down and just have some drinks, maybe some food. We're looking around sort of like different like pubs or bars. We walked past this one a couple times, sort of a couple of times, and then we just sort of decided, we'll go into this one. So we go into this one, we sit down, we order, I think, some drinks. We just sit down, just talking, waiting as you do. And the waitress comes over to drop off the drinks, and as she's doing this, she's putting the glasses down. I look up, and I couldn't believe who I was seeing, like right in front of me. It was an old friend of mine who was in college, who I haven't seen about. I think at that point about 2 years. I haven't seen them in about 2 years. They left to do other things. But she transferred over to. She travelled over to Australia. She lives there now, from my understanding. So yeah, I saw her. I jumped up and I just like, no fucking way, and I went over and I gave the hug and knocked all the glasses over. It just went everywhere. My drinks. I just couldn't believe it. Out of all the bars, all the pubs that we went by, I came to this one, and you were there. A weird, weird coincidence that you just can't make up. Sometimes you bump into some people, you know. Sometimes where in your own country as well, which is very it's convenient, and I'm very surprising, and you don't expect it, but the fact that it was so far away in Australia. I mean, I didn't know where she was, which part, because we were staying at the Gold Coast for a bit, but I didn't know she was there. So that became even a bigger surprise. I didn't even know she was even in Australia. You know, she was just working there, just to earn some money while she was doing other things. I mean, I didn't really talk to her that much because she was she was working, and our interaction was pretty short. But yeah, really wild, and it's something that I still think about, and sometimes I still like mention, like, oh yeah, that was crazy, you know. But yeah, other than that, yeah. So that's like the most memorable sort of trip that I've had in terms of traveling so far. It's memorable. It's memorable in a lot of ways that me and our distant friends unexpectedly, or the fact that as I said, there's an upcoming like historical event on our way, where like no idea. It's weird, like after after the lockdowns happened, and even when it sort of lifted back up, you know I spent a whole after the lockdown sort of eased down a bit around July time or August time, went went to like a seaside in in the UK. I just thought, man, I cannot believe like earlier this year in January I was in Australia, but now I'm literally in this sort of rundown sort of seaside, Uh, but yeah, so yeah, that is my travel little story, and that concludes day number 5. So tomorrow, for day number 6, I will talk about give an overview of your work. What does that mean? You'll find out. So yeah, thanks for watching and goodbye.